Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Sulk stream. I'm your host, the Incredible Sulk. I hope you guys are doing well. The camera a little off? There we go. I don't know what keeps happening to it. I don't know what keeps happening to that camera. It keeps just kind of sliding to the right, to the left. That direction. That direction. So stage left, stage right. It doesn't matter. Welcome. I hope you guys had a good Thursday. I hope you guys are doing well. It is a nice rainy night here in Florida, so I decided to do something I don't usually do. And we're going to do animated horror stories tonight. And then here's the cat. So she is ready for this too. If you haven't seen animated horror stories, they're actually pretty watchable. They're pretty watchable. They're really nice to throw on in the background when you're chilling, doing whatever. They go over a bunch of different horror stories, real life events, things like that, but they are animated. So you get to watch them. And I thought it'd be fun. I thought it'd be light. I thought it would be kind of a change of pace. And I wanted to do it. So that's what I want to do, and that's what's going to happen. You know, I don't want to stick to any real rules or anything around here because that seems lame and gay. And the Sulk stream is opposite of lame and gay. It is cool and straight. Yeah. So, thank you so much for coming. I hope you guys are prepared for tonight's Feast of Horror. Okay, that was a little gay. That was a little lame. But that's fine. That's the last time it's going to be gay and lame. Probably. Most likely. Probably not. Anyways, guys. Get comfy. Get cozy. Get a nice, I don't know, Merlot? Does it seem like a Merlot night? I got the weather going on outside. I got this very moody music. It's gonna get real lusty up in this bitch. We are a sex cult after all, you know, so. We're gonna see how this goes. And this is just a spurt of the moment kind of thing. So I had another one lined up and I decided not to do it. It was about economics and I was like, fuck that. I'm not going to do economics tonight. I'm going to do horror stories. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do horror stories. And then we're going to talk about that. And I hope you guys are into it. So anyways, get comfy. Get cozy. Get in a nice warm bathtub and grab your sharpest razor blade. I'm just kidding. Tie that noose 7 times. Remember, 7 times around. Make sure it doesn't come undone because you don't want to be brain dead and like still alive. That's lame. Anyways, go to the highest point in your town, whether that be a bridge or a building or something like that. Make sure there's a lot of wind. I'm just kidding. These are all these are jokes. These are jokes, everybody. If you're working, keep working. If you are driving, please be safe and get home. Because I need you. I need you to drink the Kool-Aid that I will impart unto you when the time is nigh. Anyways, thank you so much for coming again. Hit the like button if you would not mind. I would really appreciate that. I'm the Incredible Sulk. This is a Sulk stream. And this is 250 animated horror stories. So, enjoy.
I'm a 24-year-old male, and this happened to me a few years ago when I was around 21.
Okay.
I remember because it was shortly after my birthday in December. It was really cold outside, and there was snow on the ground as we had just had a snowstorm pass through our area. I lived with my parents at the time, and
everybody's here. Is it deja vu? It could be a Cabernet Sauvignon night. I don't have any cab. I only have bubble water. Sticking to the bubble water. Dan Snot says, John, you won the poll I took on X. Yeah, because I can, yeah. Dan Snot, you fucking fool.
My mom was not really a fan of driving in the snow, so she asked me if I could drive her to the gas station for her to pick up some cigarettes for her and my dad, as well as a few other items they might have needed.
Dan says I came close to hitting an artery when I put my fist through a window drunk. You're an idiot.
I said sure, as I wasn't really doing anything at the time, and I grabbed my keys, then following her to the car. I remember the cold air hitting your face pretty hard that night, so it had to be at least
I thought
around
we
the
just
teens,
chill.
which made this...
Just chill out, listen to some of this, see what's going on. You know, I'll make some comments about that. That guy has red hair. I don't know if the real life guy had red hair.
No, and whatever else was on the roads really slippery. This is important to know for later on in the story.
Big B Trucker says lay flat inside a sleeping bag on the interstate at night and wait for the rumbling. Yeah, that's a good way too. You know, you could turn on your car in the garage. That's an old faithful. The old head in the oven trick. You could take too many pills, just whatever you happen to have, as long as it's not like Pez or anything like that, because that will not do anything. It might give you a tummy ache.
The nearest gas station was about 5 minutes away from me.
We're about results here at the Sulk Stream Cult. We're about results here. So Pez aren't going to do the trick.
The conditions of the roads,
results.
It took us about 10 to get there. Once I was able to park the car, my mom got out of the car, then made her way inside the store. From where I was parked, I could see her inside the store.
Christian says, help is available. Speak with somebody today. 988-SUICIDE and Crisis Lifeline languages. English, Spanish, Spanish? Spanish? Let's call them Hispanics. Do they adios themselves? That's what I'm going to call it. Do they adios themselves? It doesn't seem like they would do that. I feel like that's a white-centric thing. Or Japanese. Asians do that a lot. Japanese specifically. They can't help themselves. Chinese too, a lot.
Leading up to the register.
And I get it.
I kept the car running as it was...
You got to put up suicide nets or else they're going to work you to death. Yeah, that's a bummer. Go higher. Can you go higher on the building? That way when you hit the suicide net, it's still like, it kind of like, it just cuts you into pieces if you're going fast enough. Like a strainer. You just a little bits of Asian hit the ground. Well, I feel like there's been a lot of decomposed Asians on this show a lot lately. That's not on purpose.
Really cold.
That's not on purpose at all. That's not what I want to make my show about. I don't want to make my show about cutting up Asians. All right? That's what Daywave is about. And this not here.
Without any heat. I was browsing on my phone while waiting for my mom to get done, and right around that time I had seen her finally approach the register. There was a black truck that pulled up into the parking spot right next to my car. I found this a bit unusual.
Scott says, nope, if you can't go out like Sky King, are you even trying? Who is Sky King? Was that the guy that jumped out of the helicopter? Sky King. Who is Sky King? It sounds so familiar. How am I not remembering what Sky King was?
Well, given that the parking lot...
Oh, is it that guy with the axe? No, that's a Viking. That was weird.
Was empty. So, I mean, there was really no reason for them to park right next to the spot where I was.
Dan Snot says, my coworker hit and killed a homeless woman with his truck. All right, that's cool.
But I kind of...
Good. Okay, look. I know I should have, like, sympathy for homeless people. Not empathy, right? Because I do not know what it feels like to be homeless. And I hope I never do. But sympathy. I should feel sympathy for homeless people. I don't. I don't feel any sympathy for them. I deeply dislike the homeless. They're just street rats. They're gross. They're nasty. They cough on things. They're sleeping everywhere. You always see them sleeping. And even if they're awake, they're loaded and then asking for money or like screaming at each other. I don't like the homeless. So if your buddy hit one with a truck, I'm okay with that.
Just chalked it up.
I'm okay with that.
Close to the entrance.
Hey, Forrest, mommy.
Given how cold it was that night. No one got out of the car at first, but I didn't even notice this until I looked up to see my mom walking.
Background says, Bibu, he borrowed an Alaskan Airlines plane and then did a loop. Oh, yeah. And then he crashed into an island. Yeah, dude, that guy, I mean, that's a way to go. That's a way to go. And the Elisa Lam, where she like decomposed in the water tower of an apartment building, those are two good ways of going out. Like, if you ever decide to go that route, which I mean, like, I'm not encouraging that, but I kind of get it. That's pretty metal. Sky King, who steals a plane and then crashes it into an island so nobody else gets hurt. Just him. And he was like doing loop-de-loops and shit. What a fucking Chad. What an absolute Chad. He should have jumped out at the last minute and see if he could have survived. All right? Because if he did, oh my God, he'd be getting so laid.
Out of the entrance back to the car. I glanced over to the truck's passenger side window, and I could just make out a figure sitting in the passenger seat.
Rick says I took out my neighbor's mailbox and immediately blamed the rowdy youths down the street. You were drunk, weren't you? You were drunk, and then you said some kids with baseball bats took out, but it was just you. And like the mailbox was still under your car, wasn't it? And there was like tire tracks, and they were your tires.
And they were facing my direction.
It was very clearly Rick.
My mom opened the door, then got inside, before then asking me what I was looking at.
Scott says this is why I enjoyed Flight Simulator. Can you fly into buildings in Flight Simulator? Can you do that? Can you do they just, I mean, okay, they don't have like the Twin Towers anymore for obvious reasons, but can you do that? I would guess no. I would guess you can't do that.
Told her about the truck pulling up well over a few minutes ago around the same time that she approached the register, but that nobody had gotten out. She first chalked it up to...
You know what I do whenever I'm about to hit a plane on Flight Simulator is I throw my passport out the window. That's what I do. I open up and I throw my passport out just so they know.
And maybe they were just waiting for someone inside the store to come out. But when I
don't want it destroyed in the fire. The intense building destroying fire.
Seeing a figure in the passenger side of the car looking towards our direction. She then began to sense why I was so spooked out by it. She told me to just back out and get out of there, and that we didn't need to worry about them once we drove off.
Forrest Mommy says like 3 got hit here the other day on the interstate. 3 homeless people? What are they doing on the interstate? They know what a road is, right? They're human beings. They're not fucking deer. They know what a road is. They know what happens on roads. Why are they just like stumbling out into the road and you deserve whatever you get. If you're like hanging out on the interstate or like, what do you expect? Nope, not even a drop of sympathy. Not a drop of sympathy.
As soon as I put the car into reverse and then began to back up, the passenger door swung open and hit the side of my car.
Big B Trucker says you don't have to. They're fireproof. Oh, my passport's fireproof, or the homeless people. Homeless people are not fireproof. I did several tests.
A tall, very built man stepped out from the car as soon as the door made contact with my car.
They're leaning from fent. Dude, I hate when they do the fent lean. When homeless people do the fent lean or just like... I hate it, dude. I want to go up and I want to push him down. I want to kick him and like spit on him. But that's illegal. I'll get arrested for doing that. But if they're just sleeping, standing up, all like homeless and shit, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing the cops won't do anything. They might be like, hey, wake up, move along. But if I go and kick his ass, actually be like, stay out of this town, I get arrested. That's bullshit, man. That's bullshit.
I hit the brakes as soon as I felt the contact, and the man stood there before throwing his hands up at me and then staring in my direction. I didn't really know what to do as I'd never really been in any sort of accident before. And my mom was sitting right there next to me and could see as well as I had that the door...
Scott says if I ever attempt to abscond with a helicopter, I won't fly far. Helicopters aren't that easy to fly. Just a heads up. Like, you could probably figure it out, but take it easy. Okay? Take it easy. Because, like, if you do something wrong, the thing will just blow up. Like, if you just, like, it'll just blow up.
Not been opened until we had already started.
Next time you steal a helicopter, which I'm sure is going to happen.
The man slowly walked up to my window and just stood there. I cracked it very slowly.
Bill Burr cannot fly a helicopter. I mean, I'm sure he's taking lessons, but I'm sure, I don't want Bill Burr in a helicopter. He seems unstable. Have you seen his wife? Does that seem like the wife of a stable person? Have you seen Bill Burr's wife?
And that I was sorry, but that I didn't see the door open as I was backing out. For a brief moment, he didn't really say anything. That is, before he simply asked,
"Roll down your window a little bit more. I can barely hear you."
I knew this couldn't be true as it was really quiet in that area, and I wasn't even speaking in a low tone. I told him that I'd prefer to keep it cracked as I really didn't want to let cold air get in.
Yeah, she's not great. She's not great. She's just and I hear she's terrible. Like, I hear she's a terrible person too, just to be around. But I know Bill Burr is. I know that for a fact. Bill Burr seems like an absolute psychopath. But yeah, she seems gross. So, whatever.
To the car. This really angered the man, and he immediately spoke in a more angered tone now. He was telling me to roll down my window.
Ardenshire says Bill Burr turned into a homo. He did. He turned into an absolute homo. He used to be like pretty funny and pretty based, right? But he turned into an absolute queer when he started getting those Disney dollars. When those Disney dollars started flowing in, he was all like, I'm getting Star Wars gigs and shit. Then he's all like, okay, I'm going to change my tune a little bit, and I'm going to get real gay with it. And he did. He successfully. He's probably one of the biggest sellouts I've ever seen in my life. Because he knows, on some level, he absolutely knows what he's saying is absolute bullshit. On some level, he's not an idiot. He's not an idiot. But those Disney dollars, they are sweet. Whoo. They good.
Oh, yeah.
They good.
I again told him no, and this is when things then took a turn for the absolute worse. Without
this gay cartoon is too high. This is horror stories, all right? Background noise, just fucking roll with it. Roll with it, brah. Okay? We're chilling. We're having a little bit of discussion. We're talking about how gay Bill Burr is and like 9/11 and shit. And we're just, we're easing, smoke some weed or something. Have a drink. Not everything has to be gay and lame. This is the Sulk stream. So a little bit has to be, it's going to get a little gay. It's going to get a little gay. A little gay.
Whatsoever. The man smacked my window really hard with his hand. Startled, I immediately jumped back and rolled the window up. My mom was right beside me, just absolutely yelling for me to just back out and leave. But I was really afraid of hitting the man in the process, as he was still right next to my car.
So Scott's telling me how he would do it. Hanging, nope. Shot in the temple, nope. Yeah, that's a bad... If you do that, you're going to blind yourself. You're not going to kill yourself. You're just going to blind yourself, right? That's happened a lot. And then you'll just like scoop out the front of your face, which is not ideal. Then you got to live like that. But not only that, you got to live like that while being super positive because you survived. You know those people who try to end themselves and then they survive and they're all like, I'm just glad to be alive. I'm so happy I'm with everybody. I love life and shit like that. Then you're that person, which is worse, right? That's a lot worse. Because then people are like, damn, I wish it worked. I hate positive Scott now, right? With the scooped out eyes. I hate positive Scott. At least he was funny before. Yeah, he was a downer, but it was kind of funny. But now he's just positive, and he talks about Jesus all the time. And it's just like, man, he doesn't even drink anymore. He just constantly goes around feeling stuff. This is beautiful because he's blind. Yeah, don't be that guy. Be depressed or like end yourself.
The man kept smacking my window really hard.
This show is for entertainment purposes only, and please do not take my medical advice. Here's the bell. Big B for $5 says, for being 14% gay and lame. 14%? We gotta up those numbers.
More times
Thank you.
Before he then tried punching it. It was right.
Dan Stoss says shotgun in the mouth like Cobain, allegedly. 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 Right? Allegedly. No, it was a hitman. There was a hitman. Courtney Love hired a hitman and blew his head off with a shotgun. Pretty obviously.
And at this point where I realized that if I didn't get my mom and I out of there fast, this guy was definitely going to hurt her.
Monkey says he gets up early just to see the sunrise. He can't because he's got his eyes scooped out, right? So he just feels it on his skin. But any sensation like that, he's just happy to be alive. And he's all like, hey, guys, you know, I'm so glad. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You know, I'm just happy to be here and I'm happy to be alive. And then he spends a lot of time like volunteering and shit, like at soup kitchens. And like, you know, gets real, you know, oh, these poor souls and stuff. Then everyone's just fucking sick of Scott. Everyone's fucking sick of Scott. Right? Remember, the tilt, not up. In the mouth, you got to tilt it back. You got to hit this part. It's like an upside down pear in the back of your head. You got to hit that part, right? Or if you do the wrist, remember, down for results, across for attention. Right? And don't hang yourself. That's unless you're going for like theatrics and stuff where like somebody's going to find your mom's going to find your swinging body in the closet or something as like one last gotcha. Don't hang yourself. It's just unreliable. And it seems like it hurts.
Russ. I could see the cashier inside the gas station. Heard what was
I just told you, Kabuki. It's just, you know, unless you're being theatrical, right? Unless you're like punking somebody for one last time and you're like, haha, you found me hanging from the rafters. Gotcha. But I am dead. It just seems like it's painful. You like shake your legs and stuff like that, and you're like, you know, then your eyes bulge out and shit. It doesn't seem like the most fun way to go. I mean, if you're jerking off, that's another story, right? But if you're jerking off, you're not like way high up. You don't like rock a chair to jerk off, right? You know, you're not carving your name in the rafters to jerk off. Or maybe you are. That's just what you do. You go around places and you're all like, Scott was here. And you bust a load on the toilet paper because you're sick, Scott.
On, and he looked to be on the phone with what I could only assume was the police. But there was absolutely no way I could wait for them, as the man was now both punching at my window and now kicking my door. It was like some switch had been flipped on.
Despite says, I considered hanging because I don't want to add to BS gun statistics. Yeah, no, I get that. But like, come on, don't do that. Jump. Jump off of something high. Jump off of something high. Right? You get a ride of a lifetime. I mean, it will be the ride of a lifetime. And then you get to splat in a big old mess and shit like that. And everyone crowds around you and stuff. And then an entire team of people have to come and shovel your ass up and like put you in a bag, various bags. That's way better than just being like, oh, I'm sad. Right? And then you add the gun statistics. And then people can't buy guns because California's like, oh, everyone's killing themselves. And don't do pills. Pills can be unreliable. And a lot of people don't know how to pill themselves to death. You know, you could take like a handful of Tylenol and it'll just wreck your kidneys. And then you have to be on dialysis for the rest of your life. And positive. Remember, if you try to do it and survive, you will become a super positive, like just a nightmare of a person to be around. Okay? So, also, you will lose all of my respect. Because not only are you such a loser that you wanted to kill yourself, but you failed at it. You failed at it. You failed at killing yourself. Oh my God. How harmless are you that you actually failed at killing yourself? Right? And so I would laugh at you and make fun of you for the rest of your positive life. Right? And you'd let it roll off your back and be like, oh, no, it's cool. We'll get them next time. You say in the mirror. Or you think you say in the mirror because your fucking eyes are all scooped out.
on in this man's head. And I just totally lost.
You're just saying that to a wall.
I told my mom to hold on as I put the car into reverse.
Arden Sheriff says Killdozer got it right. Yup. Killdozer got it right. Right? Because if he didn't do that to himself inside the Killdozer, they were going to do it to him. That guy that stole a tank, that's a perfectly good way of doing it too, because there's no way they're going to let you live. These are all options, right? All options.
First again, and backed out of there as fast as I could, just barely missing the guy by a few inches.
Big B says, don't accept failure. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps and try again. You got to get back on the pony. You got to get back on the horse, right? Like, you try to shoot yourself, and then you just blow off your eyes or something, and you just got to, like Velma and Scooby-Doo looking for her glasses, feel around for the gun, and then you're like, here it is, and you're like, it's hot! You try to put it in your mouth, and it burns your tongue, dude, and you're like, this is why you don't want to fail. You want to get it right the first time, because the second one's going to be a lot harder. You know why? Because the first time hurt. The first time hurt. And you're like, I didn't think it was going to hurt like that. I thought it was just going to be lights out. Well, it was, but you still felt it.
I pulled fully out of the parking spot before the man ran out in front of our car and slammed his hands right on the hood.
Kabuki Tut says, quit showing your pussy on camera, John. You know I make more than like 90% of OnlyFans? Here it is. Here that is. Yeah, the bitches on OnlyFans don't make shit. And I knew that, which is really funny. And I've talked about this before, because how much of a fucking, that's got to take you down a peg, right? You're a woman, so naturally you think you're super hot. They all do. And then you go on OnlyFans because you're all like, you know what? I'm sick of doing this. I'm going to go make $1 million on OnlyFans because I'm super hot. And then you make like $30 a month. Possibly. Some make nothing. Some spread their cooter all over the internet and they don't make a dime. And it's got to hurt your feelings. It's got to hurt your feelings bad. Right? That's like Tuesday B Crew strip club at a truck stop. Right? You are low. You are low on the totem pole of whores. Really, very low.
I sat there frozen, not knowing what to do, as the man looked right back at me. I turned the car wheel, then sped around him, trying to avoid him the best that I could before booking it the hell out of there. After that, I honestly thought that was the end of it. But as we made our way down the road to a stoplight, I was able to see headlights that was fast approaching from behind our car. And once it was close enough behind us, I could then see that it was the same truck the man was in. There appeared to be 2 people inside of it. I assumed the man I encountered must have been the passenger, and I guess the driver was someone I hadn't noticed before. I told my mom that it was...
This is how horror stories start, right? Like, you get followed down a road, down an empty road for a long time, and like a big truck, and they catch you. Carry a gun, for God's sakes. Who doesn't carry a gun? Who does not carry a gun? I don't know why you would. Why would you not carry a gun? You live in California. Even if you live in California and get busted with a gun, it's still not that. It's like a ticket. It's not that bad, right? It's not, as long as it's your gun. But yeah, it is illegal.
Then behind us, and she started to freak out and call my dad, then letting him know what was going on.
Couch says, LMAO, I love that you're doing this. Yeah, I was going to do something on economics and be like, oh, we're all going to die because no one can get jobs because of AI and shit like that. And I was like, nah.
We were still probably about 10 minutes away from our house given the road conditions. But I knew that there was no way that I could get us back.
My son likes these. My son is all like, more scary stories. He's 4 years old. And that's great because I really like them. Jess does like them, but not when she's pregnant or postpartum, which is weird. She's not, when she's pregnant, she doesn't like them. When she's like postpartum for like a year or something like that. She doesn't like him. There's something weird, some weird thing that goes on in her head that makes it so she's... First of all, women are always afraid of everything at all times. So you do stuff like this where it makes them think there's like an intruder in the house, and oh my God, they are irrational. It's hilarious, dude. It's hilarious. Like she constantly, it's amazing. Try it on your wife or your girlfriend or something like that. It'll be really, really funny. They're always in fear. I thank God every day I'm not a woman. I really do. I do it every day at breakfast. I'm like, thank you, Jesus, for my breakfast. And thank you for not making me a woman, because that would have sucked. That would have sucked.
Back to our house that amount of time before these guys tried to ram us off the road or whatever else they had planned for us.
Big B says, my kid was the same way. Love these. Cool. Yeah, that's cool. It must just, it's boys. You have a boy, I'm assuming. I don't have a daughter.
My dad told my mom.
I might. I don't know. I don't think I make daughters. I think I only make sons. I have too much nuts. Here's the thing. Sometimes you can tell when a guy is going to make daughters. Now, if you have daughters, don't take this the wrong way. Do not take this the wrong way. But sometimes I feel like men who make daughters are a little bit more effeminate than men who make sons. Please don't take that the wrong way. Maybe it's just me, but it's just like, I mean, on average, it seems like that to me. To me, it does, because I've seen it so often. I've seen it a lot. Maybe I'm wrong.
For us to attempt to head back towards our house, and that he would try and meet us halfway in his truck. She told me this. And
it's okay to be Christian says, does she still like the movie Tank Girl when she's pregnant? Yeah, she's still got red flags at the wazoo. I mean, that's how I like them. That's how I like them. I like the red flags. Shoot me. I don't care.
I agreed that this had to be our best option, given that I couldn't turn around and head back to the gas station, still not knowing if the police had even been called.
Dan Snot says, that's not true. Men who make daughters have to be tougher. Look, dude. Maybe have to be tougher, but I'm just saying, like, as a vibe, I'm not saying that if you have daughters, you're like a girly man. Am I saying that? That might be the case, right? Because, I mean, look, dude. That just might be the way it is. I just got too much nuts. I got too much nuts.
So once the light turned green...
That's going to piss people off. That one's going to piss people off.
I punched on the gas and sped off. I'm going to be
Christian says, if you have a daughter, that means you are gay. Sorry, this is a fact. I don't make the rules, all right?
Completely honest.
I don't.
I really wasn't being that calm.
If you make more daughters than you make sons. Now, if you have a bunch of sons and then you have one daughter, okay, you're probably more, masculine. But if you have 5 daughters and you can't make a son, that's probably because you a bitch, dude. I'm just saying, I don't want to be harsh on people because I know that's hard for a lot of guys. They're like, I want a son, and they keep making daughters because the male actually determines the gender of the baby. Yeah, it's your fault, bro. It's your fault. And there's nothing you can do to change that. There's just nothing you can do to change that.
Cautious of the road at this point, as there really weren't any...
Dan Stott says, my grandpa had 1 son in a previous marriage, but 3 daughters with my grandma, WW2 vet construction worker based. It sounds like a bitch, dude.
At this point of the night.
You're telling me he survived World War II? He didn't die like a man? What?
There were a few times where the car slid from the ice on the road, and I knew that it would only take one turn.
I could tell that that opinion was going to light some fires.
The wheel to lose control. But I wasn't going to slow down and let these guys catch up to us.
Big B says, I got an awkward phone call to make to a buddy. 5 daughters. Oh, damn, bro. 5 daughters? 5 fucking daughters? Dude, that's like, oh my God. That house must be so loud all the time. I mean, I have sons and it's loud, but it's usually like crashing. Like things crash. Or like a big old, like crashing sounds. Or like a kid falling or something like, things breaking. But if you have 5 daughters, it's constant fights. It's constant fights between all of your daughters and your wife too. Because a lot of times she'll get in on it. She'll get in on it too. So thank God I was manly enough to make sons.
After about a few minutes of driving, we were able to see headlights right in front of us on the other side of the road. I was thinking that it had to be my father, and as we got a little closer, we were able to make out his truck beyond the lights. Very surprisingly, the truck was still behind us, still keeping pace with me given the road conditions. I could see my father cut across the midsection of...
And I'm not saying having daughters is bad. I'm not saying... No, daughters are a requirement. I'm just saying men who make sons tend to be more masculine, in my opinion. That might not be correct, right? And I'm sure somebody's going to bring up a case of a guy that's super masculine and he wears a tutu and has a tea party with his daughter. Congratulations. I can show you a picture of a woman who's super masculine with a beard. Does that count for much? It kind of doesn't. No, it really doesn't.
The roads and then stopped shortly off the side of the road. I started to slow down right as we approached and then pulled off to the side of the road. The truck following me. As I came to a stop, the same man from before that was in the passenger seat hopped out of the car, then started making his way to our car. The driver opened his door, but before he could step out, both of the men stopped dead in their tracks at the sound of my father's voice. I suggest that both of you hop back in that car and drive right on out of here before I put a bullet in the both of you.
Nice. That's exactly what you do. Be like, hey, I know you guys were coming here to cause trouble and shit like that, but and then they're like, oh, okay. And then they leave. No one wants to get shot. Nobody wants to get shot even once. Even with a 22. No one wants to get shot with a 22. Right? Not even once. Because that shit burns.
I could see my dad walking out into the light, radiating from both his and my headlights. He had his 9mm pistol pulled and aimed right at the man's head as he stood right next to my car. I pretty much just watched as both of the men just stood there for a brief moment as my dad slowly inched his way towards them. The man then very slowly backed away towards his truck before then speaking to what I assumed was my father.
You're really lucky you got here when you did.
The man laughed and jumped back into his truck before it quickly backed out and drove off in the other direction. My dad walked to my window.
I would have just shot him. I mean, I guess that would have been a problem, right? And then you have to talk to the police and... Well, no, I guess that depends if the gun's registered or not. If it's not registered, you're good. Hop in the car and go. You are clean. All right? That's why I always carry an unregistered firearm. Right? Old Smokey Joe.
Window, and he asked me and my mom if we were okay. I remember telling
old 3 to 5 Joe
him that other than being scared shitless, I think we were fine. Shortly afterwards, my dad followed us.
This bite says a guy is reading scary stories people posted on Reddit. Yeah, that's exactly what this is. Yep.
Back home just to make sure no one else followed us. I really have no idea.
Dan Snot says my other grandpa was a drill instructor in the Marines with 3 boys and 3 girls. Met him once. Total ass. Well, okay, he was an ass. He's a drill instructor. What do you expect?
Idea what those men's intentions were or why the man acted the way he did. All I know is that if I hadn't reacted...
Spite says that's what 3D printers are for. Yeah.
I did to get my mom and I out of there. I just really hate to think what those men would have done to us.
Yeah, well, your dad would have shot them. And that's exactly what he should have done. He should have shot them. What the hell? What the hell's happening to my Rumble? Where's everyone going?
For some context, I'm a 22-year-old female, and at the time I was 18 years old. I had moved to the nearest city from my hometown about 2 hours away.
Is everybody still here? Because it says I have one person in the chat. Is something happening to my Rumble? Did my Rumble just fucking drop me? Or people... Is Rumble fucking up right now? What?
Community college. I was going to get a degree in fine arts. I lived in a really big dorm with 3 other roommates who were also female.
You're not in a hammock, Kabuki. You're never in a hammock. It says 35 on my end. I don't know why it says, okay, it's going back up now. It's Rumble. It's Rumble being Rumble.
The dorms happened to be located in the back of the college near downtown, situated behind a steakhouse, nightclub, and a gas station. The area was sort of in a seedy part of the city, so I tended to be a little cautious whenever I went, especially at night. One of those nights I had been craving some junk foods and I...
3 likes? 3 likes? Come on.
Wanted to grab some snacks.
No, I get it. You guys carry registered firearms, and everyone's all like, "Oh, don't carry an unregistered firearm. That's federal prison time." How are you going to shoot somebody unless you have an unregistered firearm?
I was watching a movie, so I decided to head out to the nearby gas station.
I'm just saying.
I grabbed my keys.
Seems like a no-brainer.
Wallet, and then my phone, then told my roommates where I was going. I was really close by, so I was able to walk to it whenever I wanted to. Though I would typically avoid it at night since it really sent off some really creepy vibes. When I finally arrived there, I opened the door, then went inside. It was pretty quiet.
Dan Snot, ignore Dan Snot. Here, I'm going to remove that. No, I won't. I'm not going to remove it.
Who was hanging out with the liquor in the back. The girl at the counter seemed to be scrolling through her phone.
Big P says, imagine registering a firearm. Marks. Exactly. Like, what? I mean, I'm sorry. The government wants to know all my fire. First of all, it is not the government's right to know what I have to defend myself with. That is a very real thing. You don't get to know what I have. That's not part of the rules. That's a dumb law. That is a stupid law. And so, no, I file the serial marks off of all my weapons. As a good American should do. Right? Ignore every gun law. This is a comedy show, by the way. These are jokes.
Seeing as she didn't really have...
I don't want the feds knocking on my door. Be like, did you say this? Can we look around? No.
Much to do.
No.
So I went ahead and started looking at things I wanted to buy. Though, I gotta say, the closer I got to the back, the more that I could hear this sort of muttering.
That's a cat's tail. That's not my prick.
The guy who I had seen entering the store seemed to just be muttering absolute nonsense to himself.
Okay, so you're in a store in Tampa. Okay. Because this happens a lot. In Florida, you go to like a convenience store in like the right part of town. I guess that's true for anywhere. But I feel like in Florida, people are drunk all the time because like a lot of people here descended from pirates. Like my wife descended from pirates. Like her family has a long lineage of pirates. And so they're just drunk on rum like most of the time. Not Jess. She smokes weed.
It wasn't that quiet, so I wasn't able to make out what he was saying.
I guess that's a pirate thing too.
I didn't really think too much of it, and I just went back to what I was doing. A few minutes had passed, and as I was still shopping,
Big B says, wait, this isn't the nationalist meeting? Shit, I got dressed up for nothing? No, you got dressed up for the Sulk stream, and I appreciate that. I would hope you guys wear your Nikes when it's Sulk stream time, right? And pull your purple blankets up, and then you get ready. You get ready for that comment.
Dude who I had seen in the back suddenly started yelling now. Just absolutely shouting random incomprehensible things. Every single
Bush was on 9/11. The vaccines kill people, and the Fed. And I'm just like sitting there. I'm like, yeah, okay, keep going. keep going, all right? Everyone's like, this guy's crazy. He must be on drugs or something like this. And I'm all like, yeah, man. No, you're speaking the truth. Go. Keep going. Keep going. Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. And then I start doing it, right? I start doing it next to him, and then we just have a problem. And then people just start crowding around. And then everyone clapped.
The second that went by, he seemed to get angrier. The man was pacing, and he was waving his arms around. I was pretty much just standing there glued to the spot. Absolutely.
All wars are banker wars. This guy's out of his mind, but he's like dropping fire.
Absolutely terrified of this man. I didn't know what to do, and I wasn't sure if this guy was...
Kabuki says, I'm in my diaper. You having problems? You having problems with your beehole, Tut? What's wrong with your beehole? Is it loosened? Did you loosen it real good?
Was drunk, high, or just crazy. The girl at the cash register seemed to have been alerted to his...
How come all these cartoons have, like, pretty big boobs? Did you guys notice that? Is it just me? It was just me?
Presence as well.
Never mind.
Well, we had made eye contact.
Never mind.
And she looked just as terrified as I did. We both just watched as this man then ranted, raved, and began to pace around the store. I was unsure if I should call the police.
I remember I went to a Quickie Mart. It was like a 7-Eleven in... it was like Tarpon Springs, right? And some guy... It was like 8 a.m. And some guy walked up to this lady's car. And then she was like trying to put her keys in the car, and she was all like, sir, what are you doing? And he was all like, and he was like pulling on the door, right? He's pulling on the door. She was like, sir, can you not do that? Can you please get away from my car? And then he fucking pulls his dick out and he starts peeing on her car. And then I was like, oh, somebody's going to jail. He was wasted. He was wasted. 8 a.m. Wasted.
Or not. I was trying to be quiet.
Hey, Brandon.
To not alert him of my presence.
Are you
I
wasted?
Really didn't know what he was capable of. Another few minutes went by, and this guy then started...
I should sell hammocks, shouldn't I? I should sell Sulk Stream hammocks. That'd be cool. Right? They're hammocks, but they're extremely comfortable. And so you can bed rot in them. Right? So you stay in the hammock for like 3 days straight, and then you don't eat or drink or anything. You just like scroll on your phone because you're depressed. Welcome to the Sulk Stream. They're bed rot hammocks. Super comfy.
Yelling and screaming until he then walked up to the front, kicked over a few things, then left the store. I watched the guy then disappear right into the night. My heart now hammering in my chest.
Bucket hats could be something.
I was going to get attacked by this crazy man. Thankfully, he left, though, without causing too much damage. I walked up to the poor, frightened cashier and paid for my stuff. I also ended up giving her some...
And then, the poor, frightened cashier. And then you look her dead in the eye and be like, you deserve this for working here. You did something in your life, which is why you are working at the night shift at a convenience store. You did something wrong in your life, and that's why you're here. So you deserve to be afraid on a nightly basis when you come into work. Thank you. And I'll take my stuff and I'll leave. Right? And all the change from the take a penny, leave a penny. Just grab it out of there. And I leave.
Extra cash because I felt really bad. I mean, I know she wasn't getting paid enough to deal with people like that crazy ass man.
No, he was speaking truths though, right? The whole Bush was in on 9/11 and the Epstein didn't kill himself and like, you know, when are we going to get the dossier? We're never going to get the dossier, right? You know, Edward Snowden, he was speaking facts. I
just wanted to help her out. That's pretty much the end of my story, though. I don't know what happened.
Why does a gas and go jockey have a tie on? Formal wear is, you got to look good, right? No, they never look good. They never. No, they never look good. The cleanest one I go to is probably the Wawa. Those people look like they're not that hard up, but I think they get paid pretty well.
Happened with the man, and I don't know if he ever returned to the gas station. But I'm just really hoping that I don't encounter him again.
The Wawa
When
ain't
I was
bad.
18 or 19, I decided to go metal detecting this park that was in the heart of the ghetto.
That's cool. That's cool. Metal detecting in a park. I bet you're going to find bullets. Bullets. Maybe a gold chain. That'd be cool. Maybe a body.
Saying that this place is in a bad part of town too is really an understatement. There are regular shootings that occur at it, and the parking lot around the area is filled to the brim with dirty needles. And maybe I was stupid for detecting at this location, but I guess I just didn't care. I mean, I'd previously hit the spot and helped this old bum find a missing piece from it.
Brandon says, yeah, the Kroger gas station, people are closer to humans than most places. You know what? I take that back. The Wawa is not bad, but like the people at the Buc-ee's are probably the top of the line when you get to the gas station. But the Buc-ee's is like, it's more of an experience than it is a gas station, because there's like a restaurant and there's like a gift store and there's 200 pumps, right? And you have showers and stuff like that. The Buc-ee's is pretty sweet. The Buc-ee's is pretty rad. It's not too far from here too, which is nice. Not that I go to the Buc-ee's, not that I need to go to the Buc-ee's, but it's nice when people are from out of town and you're all like, hey, you ever see a gas station like this? And then you're like, skadoosh. It is the Buc-ee's. My cat. Try this gas station fudge. And they're all like, ew. And then they try it and they're like, oh. Excuse me.
When I went here this
fucking
time,
cat,
it was like
dude.
4:30 in the morning. I drank like 8 cups of coffee and had this beat-up, rusty 1980s bounty hunter metal detector that my grandpa got at Radio Shack.
She's the worst.
And left to me when he passed away.
She's just the worst. She's just the worst.
Started on one side of the field, then began moving across it in a
She's the worst. Now back to gas station fudge. It's legitimate. It ain't bad, right? They also have like brisket and shit. And you would never be like, oh, gas station brisket. Oh my God, ew. Yeah, no, it's good brisket. It's good brisket. You grab a couple things, you fill up your tank, you're good to go. Buc-ee's. Go to Buc-ee's. Poop in there too, because the bathrooms are very clean for a gas station.
Rust scan sort of pattern. I feel like
Brandon Mess says cat abuser. Yeah. Yeah. I rock that pussy. Fuck that cat. I've had that cat for like 12 years now. I got her when she was like a year old from the ASPCA, and then now she just does not leave me alone, right? We've been through a lot together. We have been through it. We've moved several times. She's still right there. So, and like every night she fucking sits on my lap as I do this. And then she's just, meow, meow. Then I go to fucking sleep at night, and then she'll sleep on my chest. I'm like, I think I'm allergic to her too. Right? So it's like, oh God, you fucking cat. But she's sweet, right? Except she bites me sometimes. But she's like really about me. She's like very much about me. I am her person. For sure. But yeah, she kind of bosses me around.
mainly just Corona cap.
Bings. Bingies. Bongo. Something like that.
Pennies and sprinkler parts.
That's her name, yeah.
In the end, but I was at about the middle of the field and got a hit that seemed like it could have been $1 coin or a ring or something. So I started digging it.
It's like that Stephen King movie where the cat steals your breath. Well, I mean, she just stares at me. Right? And I have my phone in front of her face, and I just like, I look at her and she's such an idiot. She's such an idiot. She's a good cat, though. She's been with me for years, dude. For years. She's a good cat, though. And she's tough as shit. Like, she is one with the jungle. And she'll go out and she'll fuck other cats up. Like, she'll come back and, like, you can tell she's been fighting. Like, she'll fuck other cats up. Like, my neighbor thought she was a male cat because she's very, like, alpha dominant. She ain't no bitch, dude. She'll fuck up a raccoon.
I dropped my detector on the grass and pulled out this really big knife that I had to start cutting a plug. And as I was digging, I sort of looked around me every few minutes to keep a good view of my surroundings. At one moment, I looked behind me and noticed that this older, heavy-set black dude sort of looked a bit like Wesley Willis, who was super far away from me, was starting to get a bit closer. I assumed that he was just a guy at the park, so I kept digging, but kept my eyes on him. It's worth noting, too, that he couldn't have seen my knife from the angle that he was at, just my detector and bag of finding.
You're about to get robbed.
He started getting closer and closer to me, and I got really suspicious at this point. I started wondering what his deal was, and I don't think that he saw I noticed him, because just then, he started charging me, like running full force towards me as fast as he could, with his eyes aimed at my gear. I stood up as fast as I could, and he saw my knife and immediately yelled, "Oh man, I didn't mean any trouble. I'm sorry."
He was about to rob you, dude, but then you had a knife in your hand, and he was all like, all right.
I'm sorry, man. And then just ran away super fast.
I didn't mean any trouble, because you were about to shank him. Good. Shank the shit out of him. But bring your gun.
To be honest, I was more confused by the situation than startled, I guess, but I still got out of there pretty quickly, because that, after a little bit of reflection, could have been a very close call.
Rushing says, "I love my cat. She is my world. Love you, kitty. Little bastard got me through some lonely times." Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. For real. Yeah, it was just me and Bings for a long time. Then I met Jess, and then we had a couple of kids, and then, the cat's all like, "Who the fuck are all these people? why do you keep like reproducing and shit? And like, who's this girl?" No, she loves Jess. And she can tolerate the kids. So she's a good cat. That's funny that black guy was about to rob you. That's exactly what was going to happen. He was going to fucking beat your ass and take your metal detector. But then you had a knife in your hand, and he was like, okay. That's funny. That's not a scary story. That's just a funny story. Right? Yeah, he was going to rob you. That's exactly what was going to happen.
Years ago, I moved to follow my boyfriend and to do a PhD in his country. I won't name the place, but it's an across-the-ocean type of deep. At first...
You can't even name the country? Australia, maybe? It's a guess.
I was very excited.
See, why are all these cartoons have such big fucking tits, dude? All these cartoons are just racked to the gills.
It was a wonderful adventure.
He's going to scrap the metal detector. I don't know why. You can pawn a metal detector. That's like that. You get $100 probably for a metal detector. Yeah, probably. I wouldn't doubt it. That's exactly what he was going to do. He was going to steal the metal detector. And then you had a knife. And then he was like, "I don't want to get stabbed." You should have stabbed him anyway. Just be like, "I don't know what you were thinking, but I'm going to stab you anyway, just in case."
That is.
Seriously, you got to get violent back, right? Because then they're just going to, you just got to get violent back.
Until it wasn't. It's hard to describe the complexity of what I felt. I felt alone, misunderstood, far from my family and friends, and even though my boyfriend is wonderful, I really felt the weight of not finding any human connection. This could explain why I acted so...
Nobody wants to draw small tits, says Despite. Yeah.
weird and
I was going to see if I could say something about that, but you're right.
Connected from reality in the following story. I'm also a very naive woman, and I like to see the best in people around me. This has been problematic more than a few times, but this story is maybe the worst example of where this candid attitude got me. So my boyfriend and I, we're into BDSM. We do it alone on our own and do not participate in events or anything. I do have an account on an own website. I go there to find new ideas for our session.
Reddit. It's r/BDSM. I guarantee you that's what it is. I guarantee you. Reddit.
And I sometimes, but rarely, post pictures. No face, no tattoos, nothing like that. I get contacted by interested DOMs once in a while, even though I clearly state that I'm not free. Usually they send copy-paste messages, so I just ignore them. Once in a while, though, I'd get a more, personal message and make an effort to answer that.
Rushing Matt says, not a fan of big sloppy tits, rather have a nice tight ass. Yeah, there's no wrong answers here. Unless you're, into feet. You're a foot person. I want to be a weird... Why can't I be a back of the knee guy? Go away, cat. Why can't I be a... Sorry.
I'm definitely not.
She wants back in.
And I'm in a relationship. I need a kitty door. And this is how my discussion with him started. He didn't approach me with, will you be my sub, but with curiosity about how I got into BDSM, stating that he was quite new to the domain and was...
Anyways, why can't I be attracted to a weird body part, like the back of the knee or something like that? There is a certain fetish amongst serial killers where they're actually attracted to the wetness of a woman's organs or a person's organs because it's some sort of... It has to do with some sort of sexual thing. There's something sexual, and they find the wetness of organs sexually satisfying. I'm not into that.
Interested in understanding.
I'm really more of a back of the knee kind of guy.
The way of life.
Back of the knee kind of guy. I gladly
explained. Explanations turned into discussion.
I lube up that back of the knee and I go to town.
And he told me about how he was in the police and that he investigated drug cartels. He also told me that he was married and that he had kids.
Branna says, foot people equal gross. Branna, are you a guy or a girl?
Interestingly, we had a lot of hobbies in common too. A lot. I won't go into details about those hobbies, but they're kind of specific. And feeling very lonely, combined with the fact that I felt like I could trust him because he was married and had kids, I accepted his invitation to start texting on WhatsApp.
Nah. Brandon's a man. Yeah, foot people are gross.
To be clear that my boyfriend knew about this from day one too. Plus, we'd been talking on this website for...
Rushing says, I liked an American Psycho when he cased the chick with a chainsaw wearing sneakers. I haven't seen that movie in so long. And I don't get to watch movies like that anymore because I have kids and I can't find the time to watch a 2-hour movie like that.
Almost 3 months before switching to WhatsApp, he was very friendly and interested by my day-to-day life. He'd share pictures of his kids and of investigations that he was working on.
Very suspect. Extremely suspect. But this is a horror... These are animated horror stories, so okay. This is making sense so far.
This went on for another 3 months too. Then, one day, he told me that...
Yeah, Dan, I do a 2-hour stream. Not watching movies. Do you get it now? Do you understand? I'm doing a 2-hour stream instead of watching movies. You see?
He had to do
you see?
suspect close to the...
Instead of watching American Psycho, I'm talking to you psychos. So
asked if
I'm in my own movie, doing my own thing.
And we met for the first time.
I like how they make him like the Joker, dude. Is that green hair? Yeah, he looks like a serial killer. Let's give him red eyes. That'll make him scary.
But before anyone panics, my boyfriend was hiking with friends for a few weeks. I texted him, but he didn't have a signal. Plus, we have a very trusting relationship.
I don't trust you, bitch. What? You went out to, is this coffee? You went out on a coffee date with this random guy you met on Reddit?
He has a lot of girlfriends, and back in my country, I hung out with a lot of boys. So this really isn't weird for us. But anyway, back to this first encounter. It felt as if we had known each other for years, to be honest. Well, we had a great time from the beginning, and I was so happy that I'd found a friend far from my country, and he knew that I loved reading thrillers and enjoyed murder investigation videos, so he showed me his gear. Handcuffs, sampling kits for small investigations, other...
Whoa. What does this guy do? What does he do? What does he do? Is he a cop? Or is he like a sampling kit for what? He's got handcuffs. That can go either way. Right? But if he doesn't have a badge and a gun, I would be extremely suspicious. I have handcuffs. I do. But I also have a badge and a gun. And the rest of the officer.
The restraints, etc. It didn't feel weird at that moment, but afterwards, I kind of understood that this
is a joke show. I make jokes on this show. All right? Do not knock on my door. Do not knock on my door.
What he could do. However, as the night went on, after grabbing drinks from a nearby bar, he forced me against a wall.
Dumbass, you dumb bitch, dumbass, dummy, dumb big tit moron, dumbass.
And kissed me. I was shocked, really, and barely managed to push him off me. I told him that it was completely inappropriate, that he was married, and that I was in a relationship.
Showed her a rag that smelled like chloroform. You can't just do that. You can't just, no. Okay, so how to make chloroform? I think it's ammonia, and it's something else. Is it chlorine? It's something like that. Yeah, I think that might be it. But they don't just fucking conk out, right? You have to hold it over their mouth for at least like a minute before they actually lose consciousness. And they fight. They really do. They'll fight. You can't just be like, hey, does this smell like chloroform? And they just... No, you got to right? And so you got to do it in like an alley because otherwise people will see you.
He was really sorry and felt ashamed.
Despite what you've heard say chlorine. There you go.
He told me that
or bleach. Bleach and chlorine are basically the same thing.
Felt that there was something between us.
They are.
I was like, yeah, it's called friendship. I was disappointed, to say the least, and we parted ways.
Brandon Mess says the tits didn't do anything. Don't yell at the tits. I didn't yell at the tits. I said big tit moron, right? You big titted moron. There was a study done that said sometimes women go into early mammary development if they are intellectually disabled as a survival strategy. Like if they are very dumb, they will grow large breasts or they will grow into growing breasts earlier than typical because it helps them survive longer, because the only way women survive in this world is to attract a man, and if you have large breasts, that's very easy to do. So I don't remember where the study was from or anything like that, but it checks out. I've met women with large breasts that were idiots. A lot.
Days later, after
fucking idiots. Like, whoa, like walking into traffic, you know?
He apologized over and over again.
Or you're just like, shut the fuck up. Oh my God, just shut up. You say it at the boobs.
He called me to meet up. He wanted to take me for a ride.
Wait, shut up. I can't see your boobs.
It's a pretty place. He's got a bike, and he wants me to enjoy the scenery.
Rushing Matt says, every girl I have met with big tits is a whore. Really? Every one? That seems unlikely. Every single one? That seems unlikely. You haven't met a single one that wasn't like a nice girl? She just happened to be like just big old titties? Okay. I'm going to trust your word on it.
In his country, that's I barely know.
Dan Snot says fact. Okay, there's a consensus going on.
And I agree. It is.
Big B say, she's retarded. I thought she felt bad for me being retarded. Well, a couple of retards hooking up. That's sweet, actually. That's actually sweet.
His hometown. He works there. He lives there with his wife and kids.
Sure. Yeah, they can be pretty fucking stupid. They can. Yeah, the large-breasted ones can be pretty stupid. I've noticed that. Like the ones with the larger boobs. And it's not like, oh, they're not stupid. They're just having fun. They're just fun-loving. No. I can tell the difference between fun-loving and stupid. It's pretty easy. It's very easy. You can tell when somebody's stupid. When they don't get jokes, or like they stare off into oblivion for large amounts of time, or I don't know what the meaning of several words in your vocabulary are. It is a very good indicator. Not knowing the word indicator is because that's a more common word. But alas, here, and then you say alas, and they're like, what the fuck? What does an atlas have to do? I'm not saying atlas. And then you just get fucking frustrated because you can't dumb down your sentences enough to actually communicate with her. So you're just like, shut the fuck up. Just let me look.
Surely I'll be okay.
You're just like, shut the fuck up, dude.
I wasn't. Again, he kissed.
Rushing says fat girls that go out of their way to always show their cleavage is really annoying. Oh, yeah, dude. And look, being fat is not having big boobs. If you are fat, you do not have big boobs. You are fat, right? There is a difference. You have big boobs if you are skinny and you have big boobs. If you are fat, you're just fat. You're not a flatso, thank God, because those are the worst, but you are still fat. And so that is gross. There you go. I have no tolerance for that. I have absolutely zero tolerance for that. Yuck.
Tried to push for more in the middle of
Forrest Mummy says, if I had cleavage, I'd have a shit ton display constantly. Though you'd have that shit on display constantly. Yep. Okay. Well, yeah. Well, congratulations. Apparently, you're not an idiot, Forrest Mommy. You should be proud of yourself for not being a big tit moron. Apparently, and a whore, because apparently I didn't even think about it until we started talking about it. But like, you guys might be right. Large-breasted women might be big-titted, or like morons and whores. And I didn't even think about it. Because I don't think when I see big boobs, I don't think. I'm not like, there's not like juice going into my head. You know?
Park, mind you. A park where he brought his children to play on the weekends. So I told him to bring me back to the bus station so I could leave. He did, and then proceeded to tell me a story about how he had recently got a drug seller out of hiding by modifying text messages sent by his girlfriend. He basically...
My cat's playing with his lanyard. She's like, get over here, you little bastard.
They made him believe that she was cheating on him to get him to confront her, and then arrested him.
Rushing says, I got fooled back in the day on Tinder. The fat ones would always show their face and cleavage in a certain angle. Dude, you got to be careful on Tinder. Dude, like, the women on Tinder are liars. Well, women are liars in general. But, like, the women on Tinder where they're... Here's the thing. If you get a shot like this, she's fat. If you get this picture, if this is her PFP, she's fat, dude. She's fat. Like, if that's all you get, she fat. Or if she's like hiding 100 pounds in the next room or something like that, where she takes a picture of like the mirror and like she's behind the doorway kind of. But she fat, dude. She a big fat bitch. Nah. Yuck.
I don't know if it was true. I don't even know if it's possible, but due to what had just happened,
none of this.
I can make your boyfriend believe that.
None of this. You see this? That's she fat, right? Why are so many bitches fat these days, dude? Is it really like, as a woman, your body is your primary asset. It is the thing that is going to carry you through life. It is your main thing, right? I'm a man. I have a brain. I use that. But I still take care of my body, right? So if you were a woman, why not try your hardest to not be fucking fat? It just seems lazy, right? And you should give up on the world. Is it that hard to starve yourself for a couple months? Seriously. It's not. Just like, don't try to eat healthy. Don't be like, oh, I'm just having a chicken salad with 1,000 calories of ranch. No, don't do that. Don't eat anything. Stop eating. Puke up your last meal, and then just have nothing but water and multivitamins until it's gone. Easy. This isn't even a diet. Because you're not technically eating. This isn't even a diet. When you start eating again, because eventually you will, or you will die, which is like, depending on your weight, could be up to 2 months, dude. Like, seriously. Yeah, a normal human being can only survive a month without food, but you ain't normal. All right? You are severely overweight. So you might go 2 months without eating, and you're going to shed the pounds. They're going to fall right off. After that, since you have no self-control, eat once a week on Saturdays. Eat on Saturdays. You can eat whatever you want on Saturday, but the rest of the week, you get nothing. You get nothing. And then you'll be fine, right? I know you can put down 30,000 calories in a single day. So the rest of the week, it should kind of balance out and you will maintain a healthy weight. All right? Fucking have a milkshake Saturday. I don't give a fuck. Right? It's just, you're eating too much. You're eating too often. Your hobby is eating. Find another hobby.
Cheating on you. And my boyfriend.
Brandon S says the food is terrible and addictive. I understand that. Yeah, because they do that on purpose. They make it poisonous and they make it addictive. Right? There is some serious problems with the food in the United States. I know that because I've traveled a lot, and the food in other countries is different. It will not make you fat. The food in Asia will not make you fat, right? The food in Europe will not make you, well, some of it will. But the food in America, it will make you fat, right? Unless you cook it yourself, you prepare all your own meals. The food you go out and get to eat, that shit will make you fat. Stop eating it. Just stop eating it. Right? And I promise you, you're going to be a lot happier. You're going to be miserable for a couple of months. But you're a woman. You're usually miserable.
Was still on his hike by that time.
I'm just saying.
We did talk once every few days, and I told him everything.
Big B Trucker says cut sugar and salt and the weight will drop. No, Big B. No. Because they can't hit. No. Look, everybody knows these rules. Oh, if I just cut out carbs and eat nothing but protein. Oh, if I just have like salads and shit like that. No, it's not that. It's too complicated, right? Stop eating completely. That's it. It's not like, oh, I'm just eating healthy food. Fine. But you're eating huge amounts of healthy food. Stop that. Stop doing that. Stop it. Stop eating. Stop eating so fucking much. And you can't be like, oh, it's just I hold on to weight. I eat as much as a normal person. No, that's a lie. That is a stone cold lie. You know why? Because the laws of physics apply to everyone. They apply to everyone. And if you were the only person that the laws of physics didn't apply to, I would expect you to fly. Can you fly? Can you shoot fucking laser beams out your eyes? Oh, well then calories must affect you like everybody else. So stop fucking eating.
Thinking about the moment that he had some cell signal. Meanwhile, I was confronted.
Arden Share says it's really fucking easy. Never eat out, cook your own food, and do anything. My wife and I are hiking 6 to 10 miles a day at one point. We both lost a dangerous amount of weight. Me and Jess, so Jess is a Nazi about our diet. She really is. We eat clean every single day. Well, we sometimes like get a pizza once in a while. But like whenever she cooks, it's like chicken and rice or like lean steaks and like a sweet potato. And this is how we eat every single day. And then I get up and then I go to the gym after day wave as like 5 days a week. Sometimes, and then after that, we'll go and do something active. We'll go on walks. I'll go surfing at the beach. And then we're constantly chasing after kids. So it's not, we don't really have time to just fucking sit around and eat. So this is how we do it.
This guy.
It's not. And yeah, it's like, if I were to tell you that, you'd be like, oh, that makes perfect sense. Right. But if in your life, that's not going to work because you're not going to be able to follow that. Obviously, eating right and exercise is the secret. But no one's going to fucking do that. Everybody knows that's what you're supposed to do. They're not doing it. That's the problem. They're not going to do it. Right? This is a willpower situation. This is just our lives. This is how we do it. We feel bad. Like we feel gross if we don't do that, right? You feel a different way. This is your life. You can't break that. You can't break people of that, It's an addiction, but it's an addiction to their own lifestyle. It's also an addiction to food, but it's an addiction to convenience on top of that. It's just, they always want to be comfortable, right? If you're always comfortable, you're never going to really achieve anything. Do you think I want to sit down here every single night and fucking do this show? A lot of times I don't. I mean, I like you guys. I like doing this show. But a lot of times I'm just like, man, I don't want to do the show. I want to sit and watch fucking American Psycho or something like that. No, I don't do that. I fucking come here and I sit down and I do this show because I'm trying to fucking achieve something. I'm trying to do something. When I get off of the show in Daywave, a lot of times I don't want to go to the fucking gym or anything like that, but I get on my fucking bike and I ride 10 miles to the fucking gym and I work out and then I ride 10 miles back, right? And I do that almost every day, okay? It's not about being comfortable. You got to be a little uncomfortable sometimes.
His behavior was really strange.
Here's the bell.
He went
Dan Snot
sorry
for 5 says, I hate to break kayfabe, but you're a good guy, man. Thanks. I appreciate that.
In love with you too. If you tell the cops,
I actually don't know who kayfabe is.
Think they'll believe that their colleague or an immigrant? I got scared and tried to cool.
Rushing Matt says, I'm a 39 and still a 32 waist. Damn, you're skinny. Most people I went to high school are huge now. What am I, a 36? 38? But I'm not fat. I'm very muscular. I'm extremely muscular. Hell yeah. Yeah. Despite says, I'm often amazed at how you're able to go on a tangent about anything while watching anything. Yeah, I think it's a disorder. I don't know.
I just felt that he could go crazy at any moment. He clearly wasn't used to girls refusing him. At that point, I thought that it would be safer for me and my boyfriend to maintain contact with this guy, albeit with less enthusiasm than before. But after understanding how obsessed he was, I blocked him from all platforms where I knew that he had an account.
But you provide quality. Quality? What is that word, Carrie? What is that word? Is that quality? Is that? But you're spelling it quality. I don't know what that word is.
But he found me.
Carrie says, I was a Landwell, still fat and flabby, but not specialty fat store sized. Oh, well, that's good. Yeah, I mean, look, dude, there's a difference. And I feel like everybody knows the difference. If there's a point in your life where you're like, holy shit. No. Being a little bit chubby is different from being like 600 pounds. Like being a fucking Landwell. Like having an issue getting on the rides at Disney. Like suing Lyft for not bringing a forklift. You know, there's a difference, right? Being a little rotund is not that bad, okay? Especially if you're comfortable with it. If you're okay with that, not being like chiseled and shredded, I don't have a problem with that. Like 20, 30 pounds overweight, 40 even. That's okay. Really, I mean, it's not the healthiest thing in the world, sure. But like, you don't have to be fucking shredded all the time. That's hard. This is like, I try to stay pretty fucking lean. And like, this is hard. This is a lot of work, right? You don't have to do that. Especially if you're comfortable. But if you're like dying, right? And you can't feel your toes. And like you have to get like it. If the alignment on your car is out of whack because of your weight, that's an issue, right? If you have to inject yourself, well, you might have diabetes for another reason, but you know, because I met people with type 2, which is like the fat shit diabetes, that actually aren't all that fat. It's just they don't produce enough insulin, but they are kind of fat. But you know what I mean, right? There's a line when it's like, it's seriously affecting your life. When all you do is eat and eat and eat things out of boxes, eat things out of bags, eat things that you throw in the oven, which I do sometimes too. I'll throw some chicken nuggets in the oven. I'm not better than that. Fuck yeah, I get down on some nugs. Of course I do. I used to eat an entire DiGiorno pizza and dip that bitch in butter. Cause I'm a fat kid deep down in my, I will stand in the middle of the night over a pan of brownies and eat that entire motherfucking thing. I will. I've done it. I've done it. Right? Jess is like, you're a fucking fat kid. I know I'm a fat kid. This is why I'm like constantly moving. I'm constantly doing stuff. Because if I don't, I will get fat.
He even sent me my address, asking if I'd loved living in that particular part.
You're just a tad north of 200? That's kind of big. You're 400 pounds? Oh my God, Carrie. 400 is too big. 200 is still pretty big. But like, congratulations on losing 200 pounds. That's, you lost me. I'm 220. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot of weight.
Of town.
Congratulations on that. How'd you do that? She says, I'm aiming to lose weight by exercising and toning up, so I'll gain weight because muscle weighs more than in the long road. So here's what you got to do. I know you probably get a ton of fucking weight loss advice, but this is what I do if I'm trying to like lose like extra weight and stuff like that. I try to gain as much muscle as I can because I'm not trying to lose weight per se. I'm trying to lose fat. And when I gain a bunch of muscle, like it eats up all that extra fat. So I would do weightlifting. A lot of people do cardio. I don't think cardio works. I don't do any cardio. I ride my bike, but that's because it's fun.
Never. I
do that for fun. And I surf for fun. But see, but like when I go to the gym, I'm lifting weights.
I guess that he could pull some strings at the station to get my info. He even came to visit me at my job at one point. I was so scared.
Despite says I've never weighed more than 175. I also eat like a fat kid. Well, you might just be skinny.
That I just played it as if everything was okay. I told him my boyfriend wanted me to cut ties with him.
You had lupus? What is lupus again? What is lupus? What does lupus do?
Because he was angry about what had happened, which was true, but I also wanted him out of my life. I didn't know how he would react if I told him, however.
So, Carrie, you didn't do like any drugs or anything like that? You didn't do like what is the GLP-1? What is that stuff called that everyone's been taking lately? They inject it into themselves. What's that drug? Wegovy or... God, what is it? The drug, it's a GLP-1 drug that people inject into themselves and they lose weight now. And it causes like intestinal issues.
This guy insisted that I loved him though, that I could be his mistress, that my boyfriend didn't have to know. He was obsessed by me and he didn't hide it anymore. He told me
lupus is an Ozempic, thank you, Ja. Lupus is an autoimmune disease. So it's like your body attacking your body. That's great. That's great.
He wanted to have me, how we'd be a great couple, how he'd father our children.
And yes, everyone loves spaghetti. Spaghetti is fucking dank. Everyone loves spaghetti. Rich kids, poor kids, everyone loves spaghetti. There's nothing wrong with spaghetti. It's cheap, it's plentiful, it's carby. I like carbs. I love carbs. Everyone loves spaghetti.
Children. He went from I'll be husband material to like a serial sex offender too in a matter of seconds.
A Jovi is for migraines? Yeah, well, okay, I got it wrong. It was Ozempic.
I refused again.
It gives you permanent squirts? No, it doesn't. Does it really? Oh, that's not worth it. Or maybe it is. If you're super fat and you can't find a way to figure it out, and so you're like, I'd rather have the shits for the rest of my life than be fat, then that's on you. That's on you. That sounds like it would suck, though. That sounds like a terrible nightmare, right? Okay, you're thin. You look good in that dress, but now you have to shit every 10 minutes. Is that worth it? That's up to you.
And again, blocking him, changing my accounts, you name it. I got scared, though, when I got calls from unknown numbers.
Exactly, John. My body is kicking its own ass. Do you all have a pocket full of emergency spaghetti? Emergency spaghetti is a deep cut. That is a very good reference from a joke I made like a year ago.
I was terrified.
That's a joke I made like a year ago.
Down on a motorcycle close to my apartment. I was wary of going outside and going to my job. The quarantine was actually pretty welcome for me, really. And I didn't get any news from him for months. And then I broke my cell phone, and I knew that I could transfer.
Yeah, Couch Turvy says, Carrie, he loved that. I like how she's just fucking lurking in the chat. She's just here. She's listening, and she's just lurking. Hey, honey. Everything's good here.
From one phone to another, but I didn't know that it would unblock previously blocked numbers. Days later, I got a message from him. He told me that he had divorced his wife, that he still loved me, that he wanted to marry me. He apologized for making me believe that I was only mistress material.
Red flag. This is red flag.
I was worth so much more.
Red flag over here.
He said my boyfriend didn't love me, that I deserved better, that he was waiting for me.
Matt says I buy pasta made from vegetables just as good. No, I don't believe that. I've had that. I've had the zucchini noodles. I've had that. No, thank you. I've done that keto thing. I was like, I don't like doing this. Fuck this. I'm not doing this anymore. No. I like my carbs.
When he saw that...
Goofy Boots just chimes in and says, many of us just lurk. Dude, what the fuck? You've been here the whole time?
I saw his message.
Say something. Just chime in. Is Forest Mommy still here? Probably not.
He said, finally, I thought you'd never unblock me.
Say something, dude.
What does this mean?
It's good to see you, Goof. I want to know how you're doing and shit, just because say something.
I've been sending this message over and over again in hopes that I'd finally see it. This narcissistic man used all of the manipulation tactics that he knew. He had told me,
"You're being a big tit dumb moron, aren't you?" That's exactly what you're doing, right? Because this is the guy that forced her up against the wall, and she's all like, it's not going to happen again. Okay, you big fucking idiot.
Before we met in person, how he had learned those skills to toy.
Rice noodles aren't bad. Wheat noodles are not good. You're right.
With criminals, to have them tell the truth.
Hey, Farmer Chewy. Farmer Chewy's here too.
Mid crimes.
I was just fucking hanging out in the background. So what?
Fortunately,
am I in the? Okay, never mind.
I had dated manipulative men before and knew the signs. Basically, he wasn't used to not getting what he wanted.
Okay, all right.
He was attractive.
I don't know. Rushing Matt sent me something with absolutely no context, so I'll play it. Because that's always a good idea. Oh my god, it's loud.
Something's wrong with me.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus God. Brenda.
Oh, I didn't want no one seeing me like this.
Shit.
How's my boy, Bill? Is he all right?
Boy's fine, Brenda. So, what's going on here exactly?
I'm so fucking hungry, Bill.
What the fuck, dude? What? Okay. All right. Thanks for sending that, dude.
Rich, interesting.
This chick is hot to be fat. That's what he said. That was his context. Thank you for sending that. Would you? You would, right? You're blown away. Oh my god.
You knew that.
But yeah, just people like that. Just people exactly like that, where you're just like, oh my god. Hold on, let's see if we can get a. There we go. Just a big pink mess. It just says like a wad of bubble gum, like a wad of chewed up bubble gum. And you see him all over the place. And Jess always nudges me, and I'm like, honey, stop. I see her. Yeah, she's enormous. And she saw you do that. You weren't subtle about it. You looked at her and said, ooh. It embarrassed all of us, honestly.
I blocked him again, and we moved a few months later. And I just hope that he doesn't get his hand on this information. I believe that his last move was trying to hack into my Instagram as I got
Slithered James Gunn, huh?
a notification that someone from his hometown had tried to connect to my account. But this obsessed cop who has chased me for over a year now, it's terrifying.
Okay, so he was a cop. Yeah, so cops cops can be bad people. Cops can be bad people. They have the same psychological profile as criminals, and because cops basically, I mean, they're the same thing. It's just a different gang. So, yeah, I'm not saying all cops are bad. A lot of them can be bad. They can be bad people. And they have power to do things. That's not that great. I kind of wish the background checks of cops were a little bit more thorough, but you get what you get. A lot of them are kind of fucking stupid, too. Like, a lot of cops are pretty fucking stupid. Not all of them. I met cool ones. I really have. There's plenty of cool ones. But there's a glut. There's a large amount of very stupid police officers out there. And they're just like, they do stupid shit. and they take advantage of their power, and they do things that break the law, and they do drugs and shit. They love cocaine. They love cocaine. They love it.
To say the least.
They love cocaine. They just raid the evidence locker and they get all blasted, right? They don't smoke pot because, you know, of course, even if they did get drug tested, they'll be like, well, I went to a house party and I must have accidentally ingested some, so that's why it's in my urine. There you go. Scot-free. Scot-free. They get away with a lot, dude. They get away with a lot.
I live in an apartment complex.
Carrie C says if they have high IQs, they are denied to become a cop. That I can't. Somebody said, maybe you said that the other night, but like I cannot believe that. I'm sorry, you're too smart to be a cop. Why are you too smart to be a cop? How the fuck did that happen? How do we have a system where you're too smart to be a cop? What are you supposed to do? If you want to be a cop, but you're like, oh, sorry, your brain's too big. Go study science, nerd. Is that what they do? Oh, I'm sorry, your brain's too big. You're more likely, you're going to get shoved in a locker in the police academy, so we can't have you. You need to be a big dumb dummy. Big dumb dumbass. Dummy. You big dummy. Okay, great. Fantastic. That really makes me comfortable that our cops are below a certain intelligence. I imagine they have to be above a certain intelligence too, or is there no lower end on that? Right? So you can be a fucking officer chimpanzee, right? Just goes, I bet, you know, I wouldn't be that surprised.
We've been living here for about a decade. Where we live, there are a lot of stray cats here, and some people have dogs. Some of these dogs chase the cats around.
Carrie says, I think all civil servant jobs turn down high IQ applicants, and then 3-letter agencies often come calling, ? I don't know why, but it's a thing I've heard about since I was a kid. Okay, I don't even know if that's the case, man. Because, like, there's no way. Like, I'm sure a lot of people, and like, a lot of feds are probably fairly smart. Not all of them. Not all of them.
Round.
And I have to be careful what I say because I know they're watching this. You're not all idiots.
And some of the dogs killed them, and some of them injured them. I'm not blaming the dogs.
They say smarter people won't take orders. Okay, I can see that. And like, okay, here's the thing. A lot of times not always. A lot of times smarter people have ethics, right? They will, if certain orders go against ethics, they'll be able to recognize and understand that, right? If somebody is dumb, they may still have ethics, but they won't recognize that their orders go against their ethical code and will carry them out without question. So that is probably an issue. Yeah. I mean, you're supposed to take an oath as a police officer to serve and protect for like the betterment of the community and shit like that. And a lot of times they'll get orders in direct conflict with that. They don't want people that will be like, well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. So I get that. I understand that.
Oh, it's just nature. I am, however, blaming the bad owners. I'm just saying how most people here do not like cats at all. And that goes for the people.
Jaw says they let illegals get hired as cops in Seattle and parts of California. In California, all the cops are corrupt. All of them. They're all corrupt. They're all corrupt as shit. They are, especially in LA. LAPD is just another arm of the fucking cartels. They're corrupt as shit, dude. And they're shady as fuck. So, yeah. Yeah, dude.
People in our apartment building. All of them hate cats. We have a grandpa who lives downstairs who swats at them with a fly swatter, hits them, and threatens them. He's an awful guy with 3 children, and their father and the grandma hang around a lot.
Yeah, Carrie says, but look at our government. Yeah, so I mean, like, even if they do have higher IQs, they probably have to be down with what people are doing, right? Look, you can have a high IQ and still be wrong. This is actually surprisingly common. You can be a smart person and still have a fucked up worldview, right? It's still a completely unethical worldview. They want people like that. They want people smart, right? But still fucked up, right? You can do both of those things. You can be smart and technically wrong and ethically wrong. So that's probably what they want to hire people in higher up political agencies like the FBI and the CIA for.
Outside, and I often heard a grandma teaching her children to hate the cats as well. Now on the second floor, this is where the evil neighbors reside. On the second floor, there's a back door that leads outside as the second floor is on a hill. We often leave back there at night to give the cats food, and we found it quite difficult to do so in these past months.
Carrie says that sounds along the lines of the Stanford experiment. That's actually that's like a point in case right there, right? Because, look, so the Stanford experiments were about people doing as they're told and how far they would take it before they pressed a button that would supposedly electrocute somebody on the other side of the wall. And the person on the other side of the wall would be like, that hurts, stop, blah, blah, blah. And then a guy in a lab coat stood behind the testee and said, continue. And what the entire hypothesis, I guess, behind it was people will do very bad things if somebody in a position of authority tells them to do it. Like 98% of them did it. Like a very high percentage, like a worryingly high percentage of people just kept pressing the button until the guy was non-responsive. So it's not good. That's not a good study, right? It's a very famous study. It shows that people are kind of fucked up and not stupid. It's not about being stupid. Some people did refuse. But most people didn't. They're all like, well, you're the scientist. Right? Knowingly hurting somebody, or they thought they were hurting somebody. Until the guy just was not responding. And so they related this to, like, you know, people doing terrible things during wartime and shit like that and following orders and blah, 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 blah. It was not a promising study into the behavior of humans. Yeah. Yep.
Now we have to go out back and then walk towards the side of the building to give the cats our leftovers. A few months ago, my dad came in and said how the neighbors are putting spices like paprika, garlic powder, and other spices on their windowsill and air conditioner to hurt the cats if they smell it. I immediately went outside and ripped some dirt off the ground and wiped it off and splashed some water to get rid of the dirt, because obviously if you do that, you're a piece of crap. What's worse is they literally own a cat, so it might be abused.
Calm down, psycho.
They even put notes on their windows to not wipe it down. They stopped for a few weeks, but yesterday they put a ton of crap on their window and I wiped it off. And then today they put a security camera on the window and I went outside and took a picture for evidence. Now we have a note from the manager on our doors.
You can't do that. You gotta stop doing that.
Saying that I wiped it down. And they have zero proof of this, so I'm saying I didn't. But they're saying that I tried to get under their windows and break in. It's just a warning notice, but I'm not sure what to do. I really love the cats. I grew up with them, but I just don't understand.
This cartoon stuff is goofy. I like it. I like this stuff. It has interesting stories. And really, we're only 27 minutes in. This is 10 hours long. 10 hours of this.
And these grown-ass adults having beef with a minor and
it's nice. You just throw it on, throw it on. You're just like, listen. You're like, wow, that's really fucked up. That's a fucked up story. And it's nice. It's very calming. It's almost like an ASMR kind of thing. I mean, what have we been doing it? Right? We've been talking. We're not talking about the videos. Maybe once in a while, but we talk about fat people. We talked about 9/11. We talked about the intelligence of police officers. We talked about, I don't know, other stuff. All kinds of shit.
Cats, seeing as they have...
I don't get this show. I don't understand the show that I am actually running. But it's interesting. It's an interesting thing to throw in the background. And what do you know? There's a bunch of people that just lurk and they just listen. Don't even say anything. Goofy Boots is here. A bunch of other people that just don't say anything. They just listen to me in the background while they're doing something else. Hi, everybody. How you guys doing?
Their own cat. I would also like to add that the managers are horrible. They hate animals and they put notes on all of the apartment doors to not feed them or give them water. But what they don't realize is the cats are saving them from lawsuits, seeing as snakes like copperheads keep lurking around here, and some snakes have even gotten inside the apartments. The managers are also buddy-buddy with other residents and let them break the rules. They literally didn't kick their friends out when 2 grown-ass adults jumped me and my older brother because we called him names when he abused a cat right in front of us. That's just how
it sounds like you're causing problems. I mean, like, yeah, like, what do you mean abusing a cat? Like, I don't know. It sounds like you might be the crazy one. You're going around cleaning people's windows and like calling people slurs and shit. And
evil these people are.
Goofy says I'm working and cleaning and just having you in my ear. Oh, hey Goofy, Goofy Boots. Sorry. It's nice. I'm in Goofy Boots' head right now. Hey, Goofy, burn stuff. Light some fires and stuff. Go around. Light some fires and run around naked and stuff.
I've run around naked and I got my first apartment about a year ago.
They're like, what's gotten into Goofy Boots? It's old Sulkster. He got into him. Yep. Drove him crazy.
Go.
Made him do things.
When I moved in, I was nervous but excited about the opportunity. A few weeks after moving in, I bought a puppy so that I wouldn't feel so lonely. My key broke in my door, so I had to call maintenance to come fix it and let me into my apartment. The maintenance guy was instantly obsessed with my dog, but my dog was immediately afraid of him. I passed it off as nothing since she was a puppy, and I figured she might just act that way around everyone new. A few weeks later, my dishwasher broke, so I called maintenance to come out again. I was working on crate training my dog, so I stated it was fine for them to come while I was at work since she would be in her crate, and at most just might annoy them with mild barking. Upon arriving home from work, I found several places on my carpet where my dog had an accident. I thought that I must have missed it before I left for work. I took her outside to go for a walk, and the maintenance guy stopped me and informed me that he let my dog out while working on my dishwasher. He informed me that I was starving her by keeping her locked up all day, and that I wasn't a good pet owner.
Okay, that's weird. Crate training is actually pretty typical, and a lot of people do it. It doesn't seem abusive. We crate trained our dog when he was a puppy, and now he goes outside like he should. And crate training isn't permanent, but like, I could see... What? Whatever. Don't mess with other people's dogs.
He then stated he could take better care of her.
This guy sounds like Nicolas Cage. No, he doesn't.
I was way too shocked to say
anything. Not
Nicolas
Cage.
I talked to my dog's vet.
It could be Nicolas Cage.
And the vet confirmed I was doing everything right for crate training my puppy.
I'm not sure.
For several weeks after this, the maintenance guy would stop to attempt to pet my dog whenever he saw us. I started taking different routes for walks and began driving to a nearby park to avoid him. This was when I realized my dog didn't react to any other stranger the way she reacted to him, hiding behind me and aggressively barking. He also began making comments about my appearance. I mentioned the occurrences to my parents.
You're abusing your dog and you're fat too. You look fat. Oh, thanks. Aren't you supposed to like fix my stuff and not like tell me I'm a bad pet owner and like call me fat? Yeah. But you're fat.
parents whenever they visited. My mom thought that I might just be overreacting to living alone for the first time. She walked my dog with me around the complex. The maintenance guy stopped again and proceeded to make a joke.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like Nicolas Cage. It doesn't sound like Nicolas Cage at all. I don't know why you even think that, Ardenshire.
About stealing my dog.
That's a weird thing to think.
We got back from the walk, and my mom then stated we were going to go out to buy video cameras for the apartment. After that, things seemed to calm down. Whenever I had maintenance issues...
Carrie says the animation in this... or the stories are cool, but the animation is goofy as hell. I don't, like... It is what... yeah. I guess you're right. It is goofy.
A different guy would
weird.
come out.
It's weird
My
animation.
dog would still be uneasy, but wouldn't react aggressively.
Look how nervous that
Today
dog is.
I had a maintenance issue again, and the original maintenance guy came out.
Is this guy like a... I don't know. He looks like a... What race would you call that? Gypsy? That could be gypsy.
My dog once again reacted
The dog doesn't like gypsies.
aggressively.
It's a racist.
I held her to help calm her down.
I don't like gypsies.
And she began to relax, but still remained on alert. The maintenance guy mentioned that he noticed my family had recently visited, and he then proceeded to ask if they had left. He then started asking me if I was in school or working.
An Amish junkie? Amish don't, they stay to themselves. And I'm sure they do lots of drugs.
Responded by saying I was working. He then asked me how much money I make.
How much money do you make? Okay. More than you.
I began feeling very uncomfortable, and I laughed off his question by stating that I didn't remember. He wouldn't accept this answer though, and he kept pestering me. I then responded by saying that I'm bad with numbers. He then kept pestering me about how many hours I work. My dog then began barking aggressively at him until he finally left. I honestly feel so...
What's this weird Persian guy doing with the dog? What's he doing with the dog when she's gone?
Freaked out right now. My lease is almost up, so I'm not really sure if I should complain and risk them retaliating by withholding my security deposit. I'm also nervous about filing a complaint and then living here for a few more weeks.
Yep, because he has a key.
This happened last night.
Because he has a key to the apartment. Anyways, guys. He's got a key to the apartment and, no, not that one. Let's go there. Anyways, guys. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you guys chilling with me on this rainy night and listening to some scary stories and watching some goofy shit. And then we talked about a bunch of random stuff that had nothing to do with any of it. So that was fun. That was good. I got like $10 out of it. I'll take that. I'll take that all day long. You know, times is tough, and it is what it is. So thank you guys for donating. I really appreciate that. I also have shirts if you guys want to buy shirts too. But thanks so much for coming. Thanks so much for being you. I hope you guys have a good night. I'll be back tomorrow for a Friday night show. And we're going to do something else. I don't know what, but we'll figure it out. Until then, I hope you guys stay strong and beautiful and be good cult members and make me proud every way you can, because you know you do. And drink a lot of water and get a good night's sleep and take care of yourselves, because I care about you too. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Love you. Good night. Kisses.
I'm an incredible soul, unhinged and enraged like a bulldog's fierce growl. I'm spitting fire, burning through these trees, questioning the world, unraveling conspiracies. Talking about Bigfoot, but I guess monster too. Government lies, they're feeding me.